Hi, my name is Eddie Santos. I'm a retired Army Sergeant with more than 23 years, and I am a disabled vet. I've been all over the place trying to get assistance for my disability. And as for right now, the only person that seemed to help me out was when I went to the congressman's office, tried to get some assistance for him to help me get my prosthetic leg fixed. So finally the congressman had me the opportunity to go to Palo Alto in San Jose, California, where they finally fixed my prosthetic. If you need help and you seem to not get it anywhere, you should go see our congressman with the people he has there to help us veterans get what we need and what we deserve for doing our time in service for the freedom of our island and for our country.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
A lot has changed overnight, but Buick and GMC's commitment to you remains the same. We understand you want to feel safe, so we're offering current owners complimentary OnStar Crisis Assist services. Should you need a vehicle, we're offering 0% financing for up to 84 months with deferred payment options for 120 days. Plus, you may have the option to shop online and take delivery at home. Visit our websites for the help you need.
Visit AutoSpot GMC today.
Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using island cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
Hafidi, my name is Kai, and on behalf of the Island Cuisine family, I would like to send out a great big Undunkalu Nasi Ziwas Maasi. Thank you to all USS Theodore Roosevelt sailors for all that you do. We wish and send all prayers for a speedy recovery, and we will keep you all in our thoughts. Thank you for your service. God bless.
Hafide, my family and I extend our deepest condolences to the friends, family, shipmates of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, sailor who passed away recently. May we join the people of Guam in extending our prayers and our support, and may God continue to provide comfort and strength during this very difficult time. Sidus Masi.
Hafide, I'm Jim Moylan, and I want to extend my condolences to the family members and the loved ones of Chief Petty Officer Charles Tracker Jr., who had passed and was amongst those who tested positive for the coronavirus on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. I understand the hardship one experiences while serving our country. I appreciate the time and effort our military members put in to protect our country and her borders and the sacrifices they made, most especially at a time like this with the extremities of COVID-19, where we all are in a fight not many have experienced before. To all those affected by this, let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. We are in this fight together, and we will weather this storm together. Stay safe and protected, and may God bless the sailors of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, and God bless Guam.
Next is PD and Jasmine Weiss.
Can we just get an update on the federal relief benefits? Can we just get an update on the federal relief benefits? I mean, people are asking when can they avail of these things?
Jasmine,
get it every day.
Jasmine, I made it very clear that we're going to stick with the COVID recovery efforts. So,
Sure.
Thank you.
The pompous
and elite wish we go away
because we are
real and direct.
No interest owns us,
And we have no interest but
the truth. Together we are exposing
corruption.
Together we will reform criminal justice.
Together
We are fighting violence
Against women and children.
we here at
Kandit will shine the light
On every corner of darkness.
Together we are giving a voice
To the voiceless.
and forgotten.
Stay lit.
Together.
Together,
Together.
together, together,
we are giving a voice to the voiceless and forgotten.
We are Kandit News Group.
Hola!
Happy day!
Happy Cinco de Mayo! And I need my microphone.
Oh shoot, we always forget this part.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, and the day that the legislature decides to go into session to address the what? Coronavirus. They're not even in session yet. But Buenas Marianas in Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario. Don't, yeah.
I'm wearing a hat.
Okay, I got your mic on. I'm sorry.
I need a hat.
Our mics are good?
Yes.
Our mics are good. So the legislature is not in session yet. They are assembling at the legislature. Actually, let's call a senator and find out where they are with this whole opening session. Oh, the legislature's live right now.
Christmas. It's Christmas.
You can see my screen?
Yes.
So that the spirit of Inakamalik, a value of community conciliation, will persevere through the challenging days ahead. O Jesuso Gaya Sinahami, umatuna itata zani lahina zani Espiritu Santo, tagui tutuhonya zan pago zan siempre zani minay hinekop na haani. Amen. Kinaani tata ilahinya zani Espiritu Santo.
Situas Masi, Senator Torres, for the recognition of a recipient of Imiladan Mastaklu na Sacrificium, would Senator Regine Biscoli kindly lead us?
Sidus Masi, Madam Speaker, and Buenas colleagues. On behalf of a grateful island and country, we honor Mess Attendant First Class World War II Enrique C. Mendiola, and the family of Mess Attendant First Class Enrique C. Mendiola for making the ultimate sacrifice in service and defense of our island and country.
Si Diyos Masi, Senator Lee, and for the reciting of the Inafresi, would Senator Lee please lead us?
Inafresi, gininimas takulu ginasohu, imas takulum gi kurasonhu, zanimas figu naninasinyahu, hu ufresin maisadzu, harabai protehi, zanu defendi, ihinengi, ikutura, ilingwahi, aidi, hanum, zanitanun samono. Miren shakuriretsu gininezus tata, esti hua fitma gihilui Biblia, zani banderahu, ibandera fuahan.
And for the singing of the Guam hymn in Chamorro and the singing of the national anthem, would the gentlemen members kindly lead us in singing both?
Guam hymn first. One more time, sorry, my bad. Guam hymn, Madam Speaker.
Dunklin si Diyos Masi, please be seated. Again, before I ask the Madam Clerk to call roll call, I just would like to extend Viva Cumpleaños to our legislative secretary on your 30th birthday. God bless you always. Give her a round of applause, please. Viva.
Who's that?
Whose birthday is it?
Madam Clerk, with Fabot Hasimangagi Gwini, with Fabot Broco.
I want to be 30 again.
Senator Castro, Senator Lee, Senator Marsh Taitano, Senator Moylan, Senator Munya, Speaker Munya Barnes,
Manana Situs Kagya,
Vice Speaker Nelson, Senator Perez, Senator Rigel,
Here.
Senator San Augustine,
There you go.
Senator Shelton, Senator Tidegui, Senator Pito Terlahi, Senator Therese Terlahi, Senator Torres. Madam Speaker, there is a quorum.
So as the legislature is going through their motions right now,
Majority Leader, Vice Speaker Nelson,
we
you
do
are
want to say good morning
recognized on
to
the
a couple of
legislative
people. Do we have those pictures to put up? We do want to say a wonderful good morning to Governors, Legal Counsel Hai Hyun and Attorney General Levin Camacho.
On the motion
morning, sirs.
to
Best
approve the
friends.
legislative
Yes.
journal dated April 9,
Just a
2020.
good
Are there
morning.
any
Back-
objections?
Just to let you know, the
Hearing and
AG's
seeing none.
muteness is different from the
Motion
Lieutenant
carries.
Governor's
Majority
muteness.
Leader, Vice Speaker Nelson, you are still
Is
recognized.
muteness even a word? No, right?
It is. It is today.
And I
Oh,
move
yeah.
that they be appended to today's session journal.
And
Louis Mossy,
just a
Majority
quick
Leader, on the
tip.
motion that communications and
A quick
petitions be
tip.
appended to today's session
we
journal.
understand
Are there any
that Hai
objections?
Hyun may be subpoenaed
Seeing or
soon.
hearing none.
Back to legislative session.
Motion carries. Majority Leader, Vice Speaker Nelson, you are recognized.
Madam Speaker, there are messages from Imagahag and Guahan.
Oh, God. Here we go,
And I move that they be
Talina.
appended to today's session journal.
in her voice.
Jesus Mossy, on the motion that messages from Imagahaga and Guahan be appended to today's session journal, are there any objections?
Read it out
There are
loud.
no objections. Motion carries. Vice Speaker, Majority Leader Nelson, you are still recognized.
Madam Speaker, there are reports of standing committees, and I move that they be appended to today's session journal.
On the motion that reports of standing committees be appended to today's session journal, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none? No objections? Motion carries. Majority Leader, Vice Speaker Nelson, you are still recognized.
Madam Speaker, there are no report of select committees.
Thank you. Majority Leader, you are still recognized.
Madam Speaker, I move that bills introduced, bill numbers 341-35LS through 344-35LS and 345-35COR through 353-35COR, and resolutions introduced, resolutions number 321-35COR through 324-35COR be deemed to have been given their first reading.
On that motion, are there any objections? If there are no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, I do apologize. Senator Therese Terlahi, I will recognize you. We are in motions right now.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the objections of Imagahag and Guahan, I move to act on vetoed bill number 333-35 COR as substituted and amended on the floor, and act relative to the rapid and transparent implementation of federal and local assistance programs related to COVID-19. And I would ask that I be allowed to briefly speak on the motion, Madam Speaker.
Here we go.
If there are no objections, motion carries. Senator Terlahi, you are recognized on that motion.
Thank you.
Wow.
Even prior to this public health emergency, many people in our community were struggling economically, living month to month. And now, 2 months into this pandemic, based on Department of Labor estimates, over 38,000 individuals are unemployed or furloughed. They've been waiting weeks for some economic relief and have to worry about how they will feed their families, pay their bills, or keep the roofs over their heads during this extremely stressful and difficult period. We cannot keep the community waiting any longer for relief and information from our government. Announcements made today indicate that good progress has been made on some of the agreements with federal counterparts to get relief out. And although there is still no firm timeline on when these payments will get into the hands of the people of Guam. This is great news, and I thank the Department of Labor, the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and others who for their hard work in these efforts, Madam Speaker. This is why Bill number 333 is necessary, however, so that we can move forward with swift and transparent implementation of these programs. We need the administration to be more transparent regarding federal relief funds and their plans to help the community get through this public health crisis and economic disaster. It has been almost 3 weeks since all 15 members of this legislature united together to pass Bill 333 in a demand for increased transparency and accountability. This bill could have been signed on that day by the governor, but instead we are here weeks later to override the governor's veto and ensure that we receive timely reporting of expenditures, copies of agreements with the federal government, and swift implementation of these relief programs. Valuable time has been lost. In the governor's veto letter, she outlined several reasons the bill was vetoed. The first reason stated, and I quote, "A local statute commanding the executive branch to do what federal law already prescribes should not confuse these processes," unquote. I would argue that nothing in this bill confuses the administration's processes. What the bill does is requires the government of Guam to provide copies of agreements between government of Guam and the federal government. And while the administration is accountable to the federal government in relation to the stimulus funds, this administration and GovGuam agencies and employees are equally accountable to the people of Guam and must provide that same transparency at home. The second reason listed for the veto was the argument that some federal implementation plans cannot be published until final or may be confidential, and that the administration would provide any document the legislature wishes by requesting it or by FOIA, meaning we submit a Freedom of Information Act request to the government. The legislature, last time I checked, Madam Speaker, was a co-equal branch of government of Guam and should not have to FOIA the government of Guam to get answers. The legislature has been charged with fiduciary duty of checks and balances, direct oversight over all GovGuam agencies and services, policies, and appropriations. How the federal stimulus funds are allocated and spent is vital information that we need in order to ensure the proper allocation of local resources during this crisis. The legislature and the people of Guam should not have to beg for this information.
Right.
And yet for the past several weeks, we have sent countless letters, requested information regarding spending priorities for the federal relief funds. We've requested updates on the procurement of testing kits, ventilators, and PPEs, and a list of expenditures, other expenditures for COVID. Another reason for the veto was that, quote, placing additional requirements on the use of these direct appropriation from U.S. Congress funds is an overreach of legislative authority. Bill number 333 does not place any additional requirements on the use of these federal funds. Bill number 333 could not and does not attempt to give the legislature jurisdiction where it does not exist. It does not appropriate or reappropriate restricted federal funds or dictate where the priorities are for already directed federal funds. Bill number 333 merely mandates the government of Guam agencies, employees, elected officials report on the expenditures of these funds 20 days after they have already been spent. That is reasonable, Madam Speaker. And I cannot stress enough how vital it is for the legislature to do that information, how vital that information is for the legislature to do its job of ensuring critical government of Guam services, ensuring access to the public, setting budgets, priorities, and policy for the agency and the employees. In summary, this bill simply does the following things. It requires transparency for expenditures and agreements made by the executive branch. It removes legal impediments to quick distribution of cash assistance and unemployment. It allows for the reassignment of government employees to expedite tax refunds, cash assistance, and unemployment checks. It provides a mechanism that could relieve employees from tracking down their employers for this unemployment program. I have said this many times in this session hall and out in the community, that transparency and providing information to the people of Guam is the only way we can make the government of Guam more trustworthy, more efficient, more responsive to the needs of the people. And it is particularly essential during a public health emergency that the administration and the government of Guam is honest and upfront about its plans, its challenges, and its priorities. The people of Guam are smart, and if given all the data and information, we can all work together to find the best solutions during this unprecedented crisis. Our community has been through a lot. It deserves to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I want to thank my colleagues for previously supporting this measure, and I ask them again to stand with the people of Guam to support the override of vetoed Bill 333-35.
You go, girl.
Thank you to Senator Terlahi, and at this time, I'm going to recognize Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton.
Oh. Are they going to read the messages from the governor?
No, they just appended it. Unless any of them...
Do we get to see those messages?
If we ask for it, I'm sure they'll give it to us. Yeah.
Sidious Masi, Madam Speaker. Hafaday and Hafaday to our colleagues, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. It's absolutely unfortunate that we are here today to vote to override this veto for a bill on transparency. It is unfortunate that during an unprecedented time, in a time of emergency, that we first needed to pass a bill on transparency, that the bill was vetoed, and we are back today for an emergency session to override the veto, to show the people of Guam that we also know and believe that transparency is needed today. This is all unfortunate because ours is a government that at its very core, at its most basic grassroots, is founded on trust. There is no doubt at this point in time, there is a lack of trust. Madam Speaker, this lack of trust does not just cast a veil over our executive branch, but extends to us in the legislature as well. And this lack of trust could not come at a worse time. We are still in the midst of a global pandemic that has upended our way of life. Now, prior to coming into this emergency session, I read and reread this bill. I dissected the governor's veto message and each reason she gave. I juxtaposed the veto message to the actual bill. And the truth is, there are inequities that exist in this bill. Madam Speaker, please don't misunderstand me. The intent of the bill is good. Transparency is good and absolutely necessary. The truth is, Bill 333 fails to achieve its intent. Unfortunately, Bill 333 is not rooted in trust, so it continues to tear down the trust that we need to achieve this transparency.
What is she talking about?
Voters elect and trust us to take on the issues of the day. I believe and I know there is a need for transparency, but the dictate of transparency does not exist in this legislation. The mechanism for transparency does not exist in this bill. We cannot add another layer of obscured transparency to prevent us from moving forward. The people of Guam trust us to take on these issues with thoughtful, reasoned consideration of all sides of the issue. They trust us to enact and implement appropriate and effective solutions.
We don't trust you.
Is tying the hands of the government at this point the answer for us to achieve true transparency?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Cut the budget.
Again, Madam Speaker, please do not misunderstand me.
Oh,
the
you're
intent of Bill
misunderstood.
33 is good. We as a legislative body must be true to ourselves and true to the people of Guam. If we are asking for the people's trust and have an expectation that they will trust us, then we need to trust the work that we do as well.
We don't.
By not overriding this veto, we have the opportunity to press a reset button for our government and our people.
Wow.
Let's press that button and begin to trust one another.
Jesus Christ.
We all know the value and transparency, but we cannot legislate it. We cannot legislate trust. It is something that we must practice in our daily lives. It requires faith in ourselves, faith in one another, and faith in our future. We must have faith that we will achieve this transparency. We as a body can take the reins of leadership by not overriding the veto. We can trust the administration also recognizes the need for transparency.
Wow.
And we must have faith that this will be achieved.
Because Lou is God? Is
Madam
that why we have to have
Speaker,
faith?
I know that on Saturday, thousands of our people across the island felt what I was feeling.
You need to shut up
a
and sit
renewed
down,
sense of
big
faith
girl.
and hope, seeing the love of God through the visit of Santa Maria Camalin throughout our villages. God, through the intercession of Our Lady, renewed our hope and faith. So let's build on this faith. Madam Speaker, overriding this veto is not an act of faith. It further strains how our branches will deal with each other. This is not anaphemalic. This is the antithesis of anaphemalic. It is the opposite of what we are called to do as island leaders.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
She
Senator
cannot
Amanda
reset
Shelton.
that button. The island is screaming for help. They do not trust them.
And of all people to talk about trust, the gambling beluga herself.
Recess?
Oh, brief recess. Everyone take your shot. Shot number 1. We got some coffee here. It might be spiked.
What is that number 1?
With tequila.
Yes.
Yeah, recess number 1. Or are we tracking amendments now?
We can't.
That's my template from last time.
No, we can track the amendments. We just got lost the last time. So Senator Amanda Shelton says we need transparency. Absolutely, the people have lost trust in their government, and that extends to the Guam legislature. And she says that she's reread the bill She juxtaposed it with the governor's veto message, and what she's come up with is that, without giving any reason, is that this bill does not accomplish the mandate of transparency that the people have. So the real mandate, she says, or the real transparency and trust that we can have is if we, the legislature, trust the governor and put our faith in the governor as though the governor is God or Jesus Christ. She ain't even the Virgin Mary, for crying out loud. So I have no idea what logic goes into Senator Amanda Shelton's thinking there.
Someone gave her that to read.
Oh, that's a Carlo Branch speech.
Someone gave her that to read.
Carlo Branch gave that to her to read out loud. She couldn't even read it quick enough. My goodness.
She did not write that.
Hang on, because I'm messaging people right now.
WTF? Oh. Can we show the picture of why our AG is so quiet? Is mute? Not like a mute, Josh Tenorio mute. His own kind of mute. Hello there, best friend.
Wait, to be clear, this is at the inaugural ball.
They kind of look like
the
brothers.
Governor, right?
Yes, Governor Sill, yes. They look related. Maybe a corruption kind of related, right?
Corrupt, as our friend would say.
Hey, slow down. Big girl, because they're Christian.
So Senator Regine Biscoli is up next to speak. She is speaking right now during this recess. And this is the problem that we have with recess, is that
we can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah, and so business goes on, and they're talking about a bill on transparency, and the legislature is not being very transparent right now.
Not even including the Republicans?
So there's...
Did I dream? I felt like I dreamt that they had a meeting over the weekend and they didn't include Jim Moylan. Is that a real thing, or did I dream that?
That's like every day. As a matter of fact, Jim Moylan yesterday said that he was not invited to the caucus that the legislature had where they were deciding legislative business. He said that yesterday on Bob Fitzky's show. Yeah. So maybe you were listening to Bob's show and it was like a subconscious thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Either that or that's your ESPN.
No, and just ESP.
So, I'm getting a message from the legislature that caucus didn't happen and that Senator Moylan was mistaken. Well, we'll see. So there is obviously an argument. It looks like an argument happening. Oh, Regine Lee is pointing her finger at Amanda Shelton. We got to go back to that screen. Look, she's stomping her feet. Oh, there's something going on back there.
Yeah, because they gave Amanda that letter to read, Troy. People, wake up.
Oh, look, it looks like Regine Lee is pissed at Amanda Shelton.
What is wrong?
And look at Will and James Moylan. They're probably just look at them.
Oh my gosh, I saw Senator Will Castro at Mass, and he needs to get a haircut.
We all need a haircut.
And then he was apologizing to
Look at Mary. Mom. Look. Oh no, she's talking to Sabrina.
Oh, Therese Terlahi. Will Castro was talking to Vanessa's mom, Auntie Donna. And he goes, I'm sorry, sign out for my tumi. He really is, yeah. Poor guy. Senator Therese Terlahi is so skinny and pretty, I will trip her. And look at that beautiful pink dress, or carnation. That's a carnation dress.
Look at the guys. Look at the guys. They don't even want to be involved. They're like, you ladies can do this by yourself. I don't want to be involved.
P.S. Amanda Shelton got her hair did.
Of course she did.
Like, those are colors and highlights. That's not very easy to do by yourself.
Lou's husband did it.
Hey, Kelly's wearing yellow. I like that color. Oh, Regina Lee's still pointing. Oh my gosh, Talina Nelson's desk is gonna fall over.
That guy in the back, I'm out of here, this is awkward, I'm out of here.
That EFIT is straining right now.
Look, she's covering her mouth to whisper to the speaker. They gave that letter to Amanda Shelton to read.
Of course. Absolutely.
She did not write that.
Let's see what your comments are. Mute her fan, says Brandy Sanchez Hall. Dave Camacho says, look what trust got our people more Benielos Manglu.
Amen.
Hi, girlfriend, Benita Magnolia. Pam Duvall says, we lost trust in you. Jerry Guam, gonna try and put a gambling rider. No kidding, huh? Ron and Venus Bagnon says, huh? Reset button? Dave Camacho says, mute her mic. Biba Guam says, Shelton just committed political suicide.
Yep, you're done.
Well, she would need an elephant gun for that. Napu Uggan says, idiot, no one trusts your sorry arse. Ken Leon Girl says, nothing the administration and minions like Shelton have done anything to merit the trust of the people. Can you just, let's just go back to that. Senator Amanda Shelton, that idiot, is trying to convince us, the people, that we need to have trust in the governor after she just admitted that there is so much trust lost in the administration and the legislature by the people. And she just wants to wave her magic wand.
And
like
press the reset button.
Yeah, and just trust the governor like she's God. You know, on that piece of money that her gambling machines taken from poor people all the time, in God we trust. Maybe she'd like to rename that to In Lieu we trust, but we do not. We don't, because she's corrupt and she belongs in jail. And if I had my druthers today, Lulian Guerrero would be recalled and Therese Terlahi would be the governor of Guam, or Mike St. Nicholas. You know what I mean? Jesus. Oh, happy day, Carl. And thank you so much, Carl, for you and your daughter Dominique being part of our video. Then let's put the video back up so people can be while this stupid recess is still happening. It's just 1 minute, right? So pretty in the video. That's fine. Oh wait, no. We're back in session.
Imina 35 na legislature ng Guahan. Back from recess. Minority Leader, on the veto message, on the veto bill.
To Juice Masi, Madam Speaker, and sorry for not standing. I don't have a podium here to speak out from, so I hope this will do where I'm sitting. Madam Speaker, the legislature has a responsibility. We can trust people to do their job, but we have a responsibility to ensure that they do it.
Amen.
Bill 33 has many parts in it that make sense and provide the transparency that not only us require, but the people of Guam require. Mm-hmm. This pause in our time due to this pandemic, this reset button has given an opportunity for the people of Guam to take a moment and listen to what this legislature and what this government is doing. They actually have the time now to pay attention. Everybody's so busy in their day-to-day lives. And this is good. I've received more testimonies, more people engaged in this government than I've ever seen before. And they see something that's clear as day and very simple, that the government is not being transparent, at least on the administrative side.
Mm-hmm.
So the legislature is doing not only what we know is right and what we're supposed to be doing, but listening to the people of Guam, their call. Every single email, text I received and call is to support the override. Madam Speaker, in Bill 333, it has a monthly report. A report that I think actually should be every 2 weeks, but considering they do get very busy up there, I introduced legislation just in case, Madam Speaker, that simply asks for this report of transparency. In the event that Bill 333 is not overridden, and it's very simple. The bill requires for a report after every 5 working days of what monies that's been spent on a local level and a federal level. And that's why I really like Bill 333, because it not only talks about the expenditures on the federal level, but on the local level as well. That's very important. Why? Because we don't have the federal money with us, it will get reimbursed. But what are you doing with our local money right now? Bill 33 in Section 7 says exactly that. It also requires something very important that's been mentioned. Maybe it might be used or maybe it doesn't, but we sure don't have to come back to the legislature to put out another bill to authorize it, because in Bill 33, it states that in the event there's federal funds that need to be appropriated by the legislature, this bill does it. It's covered. Now, whether the governor uses it or not, it's there. Whether she's required to, it's there for her to utilize, especially if the federal government requires it. Very simple. Madam Speaker, most especially, we can see what is submitted to the federal government. Example, all the documents, information that is required to be sent to the federal government to get these appropriations or the federal stimulus, the unemployment funds. We can actually see now when they really sent it in time. Did they send it like they said they did? Did they provide all the information like they said they did? Well, we can see that. We can all see it, not just on the legislative side, but it's the people that can see it too as well. So, Madam Speaker, I stand in full support to override the governor's veto on Bill 333, because it's our responsibility to also be transparent and to encourage that transparency.
Right on, sister.
And we all want to believe in faith. I believe everyone does. But it's about doing our job. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Tello Taidequeen.
You're welcome, Minority Leader. Anyone else wishing to speak on the veto bill? Senator Jim Moylan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Originally, Madam Speaker, I was also a co-sponsor on this bill. And from that date until when we had our public hearing on this bill, I was in favor of that bill as well. As long as 14 other of my colleagues, were all in support of that bill. It was a landslide, 15-0. What has changed since the veto by the governor? The only thing I can see is that this bill should have been passed, because transparency has not been clear at all since the time we passed this as a body in our last session. In fact, the water even got more murkier with transparency, and the pool is even greener than ever before. I can't even see through it. I can't see my fingers anymore. What has changed is that I've been hearing about the media reports of so many different things that the people are frustrated and wondering, how can this all happen? It's questionable contracts, it's questionable transactions. from the 19th floor to the first floor and to the lobby, all the way down to the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
It is
Yes,
our
sir.
obligation to effectuate the checks and balances as a legislature body. It is not to point figures. It is to be the eyes on the checkbook for the people of Guam and their taxpayers' money. And if things are run right, then we can stamp our approval on that. If things are run improperly, then we need to fix it. But we won't know unless we're transparent. And have we been seeing transparency? No. It's like a rainy day on Guam when I can't even see Two Lovers Point or 10 feet in front of me. I certainly will vote yes to veto this. I will press the button that says override the veto. And I hope for my colleagues that they do as well, because what has changed since the time we passed this unanimously into law, or wishing to pass it into law? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're welcome, Senator Moylan. Anyone else on that? Senator Sabina, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of Bill 333 and the override. I think as part of ANAFA-MALIC, it is our obligation to ensure that the money, taxpayers' money, is spent wisely and fiduciary responsibly. And you know, we are in the midst of this. Ever since the pandemic, there's been this veil of secrecy of what is happening, and a part of the reason probably is that some rules change along the way. We were waiting on the guidance from federal agencies to come down. And I think really we need to embrace this idea of transparency from all levels of government. And supporting this bill is just another way to do that, in addition to what the administration can do. Really, you know, the embracing transparency is really what we need to do in the road ahead when it comes to spending taxpayers' money, when it comes to testing, and ensuring that what we receive is accurate. I don't see anything wrong in ensuring accuracy in how we do our business in government. And once we can prove this to the community, we will receive their support, which is gold. It's golden to combating this disease. So I don't think, you know, I think this is part of our obligation, and it's part of our ANAFA-MALIC, that we are ensuring this money is handled wisely. And this is taxpayers' money, and we need to ensure that we carry this out with the utmost care and responsibility. I think that is honorable. It's an honorable thing. And it needs to resonate with all levels in our government. Suzu's Masi.
Going back to Senator Paris. Anyone else wishing to speak? Senator March Titano, I will recognize you.
Suzu's Masi, Madam Speaker. I appreciate all of the comments that we've heard thus far. It's important to hear a wide range of understandings and perspectives, to listen to them and to truly consider them. That is what we are here to do, to weigh them, to be thoughtful. ANAFA-MALIC and transparency are not opposites. If one has one, it does not mean that one cannot have the other. We are separate and equal branches, and as other speakers have pointed out, we each have roles to carry out on behalf of the people. ANAFA-MALIC doesn't take just one side. ANAFA-MALIC takes both sides if it's a relationship, or everyone carrying out their roles. This is a crisis, as we all know. We need unity. We need to work together. We also need transparency. Inatha Malik is working for the greater good, for everyone. It involves carrying out our roles of check and balance amongst other issues. And it involves working together to ensure that we each have as full an understanding of each other as possible for the government and for the people. Sujus Masi, Madam Speaker.
Gwen Babetsu, Senator Marsh Taitsino. Anyone else wishing to speak? Senator Will Castro, I will recognize you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just for the record, I stand in support of the override. Appreciate the comments my colleagues submitted. I just have a couple rhetorical questions. September 14, 2018, the 34th Guam Legislature passed provisions into law that the then governor signed, which had very similar requirements to report. As a matter of fact, the reporting requirements were for both local and federal funds, Madam Speaker. As a matter of fact, it says within 5 days upon the transfer of any local funds, in support of the typhoon that has wreaked havoc on the community, within 5 days, that report was to be submitted to the Speaker. And then there was a closeout report that had to be submitted 60 days thereafter. And so I'm sure some of my colleagues are wondering, well, that was the local side of the House. We're hearing that perhaps this might be overreach into the requirement that the chief executive submit a report for the use of federal funds. Then I remind this body and those who continue to serve the people of Guam as a senator that the very same 30-day reporting requirement was required of FEMA monies. Upon 30 days from the receipt of FEMA monies for reimbursement, the executive branch was to submit a detailed report of all expenditures, to include procurement activities, Madam Speaker, to the Speaker of the Guam Legislature. You know, Madam Speaker, I just also want to say for the record that I do trust the governor. I trust her intent is good. I trust her heart is good. I trust her religiosity is on point. But for many of us, and to include myself, Madam Speaker, and people who live with me in my household, this is not about trust. This is about survival. This is about ascertaining the facts. So I challenge my colleagues who continue to serve that if it was good to impose such strict requirements to report to the legislature for the previous administration, what makes it so different? I think it's the people's right, and it's our fundamental responsibility as a third and equal branch of government to require such information to be fully disclosed, and in a time that we deem appropriate for the people of Guam. So I'm saying if it was good yesterday for the prior governor, it certainly should be good today for the current governor. And again, my hat's off to Governor Lourdes Leon Guerrero and the Lieutenant Governor and their team for working really hard to keep us safe and to help rebuild this island. And I read the veto message also, Madam Speaker, and it said that we'd be happy to furnish any and all reports. Just ask for it. It also says that this is probably burdensome because there's already a reporting requirement. And so I actually look at it the other way. If there was already a reporting requirement, Madam Speaker, why don't we just do it in advance and send a copy to you to fulfill the local mandate? I don't think it's the intent of the prime authors that you submit entirely separate reports in a different format. I think the same is true whether it's local or federal funds, whether it's a report to this body or to the appropriate administrative agency of the United States government, that the particulars of that report, I believe, at least I believe this to be true in my experiences as a federal programs employee at one time, that the elements are the same. And so with that said, Madam Speaker, I stand firmly on the side of overriding the governor's veto.
Right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Senator Castro. Anyone else? Senator Joseph Augustine.
Amanda better
Thank
look
you,
for
Madam
a new
Speaker.
job.
Madam Speaker, when Bill 33 was put up to vote, we all voted for it. I still stand in support of Bill 333.
All right, Joe.
And I will stand in support of overriding 333. everyone and in everybody that has served in the Guam Legislature know the role, when our role begins and when our role ends. There is a role that the administration and all three branches of government have a role to play. And transparency has always been in the forefront. Every election, everyone that runs for office promotes transparency. If we don't begin today, we have failed. And I am not going to fail to be transparent to the people of Guam. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
All right.
When Bobetsu, Senator San Augustine, Senator Therese Terlahi, Senator Torres, I apologize, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to express one sentiment as I listened to all of the remarks about the override of 333. You know, what is occurring right now is very typical of how people react when there's emergency situations. People are put out in a very significant way. Their livelihoods are threatened. Many of them, their livelihoods are no doubtedly destroyed right now as a result of this healthcare emergency. And a lot of times in that climate, there is a tendency for people to try to pinpoint who is responsible, who could have made it better, who is responsible for it getting worse than it needed to be. And so, you know, when I started this prayer this morning, I talked about how in times like this, you know, we recognize that there are so many that have gone out of their way and have done unselfish deeds to help others in need. But there is also a climate right now where there's a lot of distrust and people are feeling a lot of despair and hatred is starting to fester because people, their trust in leaders, in government, in officials, in each other is starting to wane. And so the tendency for people to want to ensure that they have all the information is so critical right now. And I just want to express, as many of my colleagues have, Madam Speaker, that the governor's veto message is on point in many regards. I don't disagree with her message. I believe that she can afford us all the information we want and that it's already been provided to the federal government as required and we should have access to it. But I think that there's also, amongst the people in the community, there's this need to know that what we are doing is in the best interest. Have we maximized the dollars in the most prudent and reasonable way to truly help people who need help, or to make it better, actually, spread it out the best way. So that is not an unreasonable feeling right now when we're all feeling despair and we're all feeling a lot of concern because we're uncertain. We're dealing with a pandemic that we don't understand what the timeline is, whether it's truly getting better, whether it's going to resurge in a few months and we're back to square one. So a lot of the anxiety is truly warranted. The blame game is not something that is surprising. It's just part of what happens in these crisis situations. But with that said, I think that although 333 may not accomplish anything per se, it will be, things could happen with or without 333. 333 might not compel the governor to do something that she wouldn't already do. But I think the one value to 333 that I think is worth an override is that it at least demonstrates to the community that we are going to go the extra mile to give you the assurance that things are being done in order, that what you need to know will be provided, the information will be there, because there's not much else you can do but reassure people when they are so put out, and we're all feeling it. There's a slogan right now in the mass media that we're all in this together, and truly we are all in this together. This health emergency crisis has affected the globe and has not discriminated on who is affected. We're all affected in some way, some worse than others. But I think the most that we can do for our community as policymakers is show them that we are sensitive, we are responsive, and even though these things may not even, we don't know that this Bill 333 is really the catch-all, but it at least gives that one layer of reassurance that many people in the community are crying out for. And I think in times of crises, you know, we do need to go back to the sentiment of and the value of Anafa Malik. In my opening prayer, one of the things that I'd asked for is that the Lord cloak us in his mercy so that the spirit of Anafa Malik, a value of community conciliation, will persevere throughout the challenging days ahead. And quite coincidentally, many of us here evoked that Anafa Malik sentiment. That's truly what we're trying to do here. So I just want to say that it is not unwarranted how we're feeling and how we're reacting, and that while there is, as I had said before, these are the best of times, these are the worst of times. We have seen the best in people come out. We are seeing now the ugly side of hatred and blame and despair that is also festering. But that's not to say that we can't at least give one added measure to people to say, you are being heard, and we want to inform you as much as possible so that you can have some restoration of peace of mind, if anything, peace of mind, knowing that while we are all in this together, we will at least have a clearer picture of what is being done across our nation, across our local community, and across our leadership. So, Sizus Masi, I just want to express that. Thank you.
Michael Getzel, Senator Torres. Anyone else?
I'm sorry,
Senator Therese, you may close.
Okay, let's hear this closing. We have some breaking news from Saipan, but we'll hear Senator Therese Chalahi's closing first.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank my colleagues for their remarks on this bill, on the veto, on the override. I just, I want to say that first, I'm asked to send a FOIA, and then I'm asked to have faith. And I have faith in many things, Madam Speaker, but I don't think you need a legislature for any of those things.
Right on.
The administration has free reign of $118 million in federal funds. We are not affecting that. Not one provision of this bill ties their hands. Again, we've heard many accounts of the hardship from Guam today. And some people, they've been out of work since March 16th. They've been home alone or with families, children, and as of today, they are going on their second month of no income, growing ever more stressed about food, diapers, medicine, cleaning supplies, masks, gas, power, water, rent. They have every right to look to the government for help, and no one has the right to delay or hide those answers.
Right on.
And as of today, our hospital workers, our clinic staff, our emergency medical technicians have suffered 2 months of exposure and high risk. They had every right to look to the government for assurances and adequate test kits, PPEs, ventilators, and the nurses and doctors should never have to send a FOIA, Madam Speaker.
Amen.
And in the middle of a health emergency where this equipment means life or death for these frontline workers, for our Manamco, our diabetic and heart patients, how much equipment we have should be made known every day and in every household. Today, small business owners continue to worry whether years' worth of financial investment, their goodwill, their reputation will survive an 8-week freeze from their customers, increased restrictions on reopening, and customers without extra cash to spend. They have every right to look to the government for answers as to how to help their employees, how to avail of aid to rebuild, and any other answers that we can give them, Madam Speaker. All sections of this veto bill are aimed at getting aid to the people of Guam in most need as fast as possible.
Yes.
The vetoed transparency and accountability in this bill challenges us in the legislative branch to stand up and do what the people of Guam put us here to do, to check and balance through an override of this veto. This is the reset button. This is not blaming, it's not personal, it's our job, and it's how we restart building trust, Madam Speaker. Standing up for transparency and checks and balances will ensure that our government responds quicker, becomes more fair, more efficient, more productive. And again, it is the only way we are going to foster trust when we need it most in the face of additional health and safety threats requiring swift action by all of us. And as we face drastic loss of local revenue, forcing cuts in services and additional hardship, I thank the people of Guam for standing up and standing together to demand transparency and checks and balances, Madam Speaker. And I stand with them.
Buen Pugetsu, Senator Chalayon, the motion to place it into the voting file.
Madam Speaker, yes, I reiterate my motion to place veto bill number 333 in the voting file for action, notwithstanding the objections of the governor. Once the motion to place veto bill in the voting file is disposed, I would also like to make another motion to immediately proceed to the voting file to vote on the override.
I will go on the first motion. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion carries. On the second motion to vote on the veto bill, to override the veto bill, notwithstanding the objections of Imagahaga and Guahan.
Yet notwithstanding the House rules, Madam Speaker, I move to go to the voting file immediately to act on the veto bill number 333-35.
On that motion, without any objections, motion carries.
They're gonna
Madam
vote
Clerk,
now.
Please.
Chela, I sent you an email. Let's see if which senators put their money where their mouths are.
Our money where their mouth is.
Yes.
Colleagues, notwithstanding the veto of Imagahaga and Guahan, should the bill 333-35 be overwritten? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Senator Castro. Senator Castro, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Marsh-Titano. Senator Marsh-Titano, aye. Senator Moylan. Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya. Senator Munya, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes.
We're good.
Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson. Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
We're good.
Senator Perez, aye.
Yeah.
Senator Rangel.
Aye.
Senator Rangel, aye. Senator San Agustin.
Ungan, por favor.
Senator San Agustin, aye. Senator Shelton.
No.
Senator Shelton, nay. Senator Taitagui.
Ngan.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Senator Pito Terlahi. Senator Pito Terlahi, aye. Senator Therese Terlahi.
Got it, Troy.
Senator Therese Terlahi, aye. Senator Torres. Senator Torres, aye.
So the governor's veto has been overridden. Bill 333 is now public law. It immediately is enacted. And so congratulations to the legislature, except for 5 of its members, Senator Amanda Shelton, for voting no on the override. No, I'm very serious here about how big she is and about you guys cannot vote for her in the next election. She was one of the top vote getters in this previous election. Everyone was like, oh, she's young, she has new ideas. She does not have new ideas.
She does not have any
She
of
has
her own ideas.
The governor's ideas in mind. The very responsibility of the legislature is to check the power of the governor, because the first branch of the government of Guam ain't the executive branch. It's the legislative branch, and that's because it's the branch that's supposed to represent the people. And today, Senator Amanda Shelton, as she has done many times.
Bill 333-35, COR received 14 ayes, 1 nay. Vetoed bill number 333-35 COR is passed and overridden, notwithstanding the veto of Imagahagan Guam by this body.
Right on.
Mampus Pat said she's greedy.
Please do not vote for Amanda Shelton, because she does not represent you. The only interest she represents is the governor and her family's gambling interests, and that has become abundantly clear over the past year and a half that she has forced her 5 votes in the legislature on the rest of the people of Guam. The legislature is in a recess right now. This is recess number 2. I want to talk about, before we get to our breaking news from the CNMI, and it's very sad news for the people of the Marianas. Before we get to that, they kept talking about Inafa Maulik. And this ancient legacy of the people of the Marianas, that we have this spirit of Inafa Maulik. But if they want to equate this spirit of Inafa Maulik to this spirit of Nagasaki, that we're thieves, because what Amanda Shelton and whoever's talking about Inafa Maulik wants us to do is to place our trust in people who have been stealing for us. And if they believe that the ancient Chamorro people were either A, thieves, or B, idiots to allow themselves to be stolen from, then I don't know what kind of history book they're reading about this spirit of Inafa Maulik. They need to get off that high horse and this whole history lesson about Inafa Maulik, because I don't think that's what the ancient Chamorros were all about. Unless you want to believe that we are the Isla de Ladrones that the Spanish said that we were, well then, if that's the case, Senator Amanda Shelton has certainly extolled that on the floor of the legislature today. And truthfully, even before this session, many other senators have exemplified that spirit as well. But because the pressure is up, because everyone is mad at the Guam legislature, you saw 14 out of 15 senators in lockstep with the people of Guam, and we couldn't be more proud of them right now. We want to say welcome to Congressman Michael Sinicolis, who has joined us in our feed. Thank you so much, Congressman, for your leadership and for your example to the members of the Guam legislature. You were the first to come out and say, we need transparency and accountability. You were the first that came out and said, senators need to do something about the timelines for the expenditure of the federal funds and the reporting requirements for the federal and the local funds used during this emergency. And people didn't listen to you at first. And now look at this. Look at the situation that we're in, where the governor has been stealing funds and her son-in-law has been jimmying up, rigging contracts for the benefit of the governor's family. It's just such a sad situation that we're in this time of public health emergency, when so many people are worried about their livelihoods and going hungry as well. And we have seen that firsthand. That ain't part of no report. That's just something that we have seen firsthand here at Kandit. We do have breaking news from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Cello, can you put up the picture? Because former Governor Froilan Tenorio has passed away. He has battled for many years with cancer. And so our condolences to his widow, Grace, and to his children, Dawn, Laura Jean, and Gina, and to their grandchildren. And in honor of former Governor Froilan Tenorio and our brothers and sisters in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Kandit would like to offer a moment of silence. May the angels take him into the hands of the Father. The legislature is in session right now. I didn't catch what the motion was, but Joseph and Augustine asked for a recess, but I think their feed ended, correct?
Yes.
Their feed ended, so let's check in with a senator right now to find out what's going on.
Sorry guys, if you see me getting up and walking out, it's because people are coming because they're hungry and they need help, and then there's also people donating. So if you see me getting up and walking out, it's because yeah, I have to take care of them. But if you are hungry, Kandit has donations from Kandit Land. Just come or call me at 797-7082. We can either, if we are live, we can either meet up or you can come to Kandit's office. Just call my cell phone, 797-7082. And I just would like to thank all of Kandit Land, all of our donors. A special shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Danny and Chris Cave, Mr. and Mrs. Tom and Latanya Daga, and a Korean Christian church. There's more, but I don't want to say who they are yet until I figure out how we're gonna get this help out. So I will write up a thank you to these people who, from their hearts, have given to the people of Guam.
Brad Hewitt, who is in Facebook jail and can't comment on the feed,
Honest?
he can join it. So he's been sending me his comments. He's after Teresa Lahi's speech, he wrote, "Damn, who's your daddy, MAGA Haga?" Hi, Senator. This is Eric, Johnny, and Troy.
And Kandit Land.
And Kandit Land, of course. We just wanted to say thank you for your vote. And what is the tone or the air about in the legislature right now?
Let me see. Well, we're all happy. I think everybody except one person voting in favor of, requiring the transparency. And if you look at Bill 323, there's quite a bit of stuff in there that timelines which the governor has to submit to us. And so I think we're all happy about that. It's extra work for the administration, but I don't know if you received already the latest on her, the report that's coming out, how she's spending the money. And if I just glanced over it, but it looks like she spent the whole $117 million. So
I did see a document that says that they want to buy 60-inch TVs, a bunch of $2,500 laptops each.
What?
Yeah. I was sent a report on it just minutes ago. She wants to spend money on a whole bunch of luxury items with using those CARES Act funding. So I hope that the legislature just digs in, drills into the administration about, they are just so out of touch and so full of it and full of themselves. I don't know what Amanda Shelton was thinking. Do you know why? Because that did not make sense what she said on the floor of the legislature. Did she explain it during that recess?
I'm sorry. Say that one quick.
Did Senator Amanda Shelton explain what she meant during that recess that you guys had? I saw that she was having an argument with Senator Regine Lee.
Well, number one, yeah, it was Regine that requested the recess.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why she requested the recess or why she just brought Amanda over there. I'm standing here in front of Jim, by the way. I have Troy on the line. We're attended. And, Jim is listening, and we're still in the session hall right now, so we can talk. But anyways, yeah, we're just trying to listen as much as we can. It's kind of hard. We have the mask on to try and keep this on. What the hell are you going to recess for? Why are you calling for a recess? Because what Amanda said, or what?
But why? Do you know why Senator Amanda Shelton wanted to or voted against that bill? Did she really want us to put our godly trust in the governor of Guam?
I have no idea. It had something to do with her birthday today. The reason why she voted, no on the override. Maybe she could get two birds with one stone. Still be friends with the administration and have a free lunch free ride from the people of Guam. not look at what she did or see what she did go blind.
But Senator, people are suffering right now, and she.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, hello.
I'm here.
Oh, hi. People are suffering right now, and I don't think that anyone buys her crap about supporting the administration. Why would she expect us? You know, I know we need to have this conversation. I'm just trying to goad you into talking smack about your colleague, but and I know this is all rhetorical preaching to the choir stuff. So I'm sorry.
Jim and I were just talking about it earlier. You know, we noticed that, hey, how come Eastern senators have their podiums? Get a podium. We were in the loop to be able to require for one.
We have. Do they want a podium? We have.
We have a podium if you'd like to place it on the session floor. It says Kandit News Group on it.
I have one speaker. I have your speaker, and myself and Louise and Jim are all laughing about it. But it's so good, you know. But what you say, and we appreciate everything that you're doing, Troy, out there, and notifying the people, most especially notifying people of Guam, what's really going on, and people are paying attention, you know. And I'm just really happy about it because we hear their struggles and their pain. We feel their pain. We hear their struggles, and we're doing everything we can possible to ensure, you know, transparency is out there. And let them know, knowledge is comforting for everyone. If you tell me where you're going to put that money, then I'll feel a whole lot comfortable knowing it's there instead of leaving it in the dark. And
Yes.
that's what we don't want to do. Leave people in the dark.
Got it. Thank you so much, Senator Muñoz, Senator Moylan. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, let her know that if people call her because they need food, they can contact me.
If you guys want to donate, or if you know people who want to donate food to those who are in need, just contact Johnny. I'll message you her number.
But also people who call her because they need help.
Yeah.
Johnny, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Right. Hafide Chirag, hi. We understand that the speaker is with you.
Hi.
Hi, speaker.
Good afternoon, Troy and Johnny. Many of God's blessings to all of you.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, yes. Happy Cinco de Mayo. May 5th today.
So first of all, thank you so much for your vote.
Yes, definitely. I want to share with you and the people of Guam that when that vetoed message came in from the Magahaga, I sent a message and asked Senator Therese what her thoughts were and how we can move forward, and that I will support the efforts in overriding.
And so did I'm sure you heard you were presiding over the very passionate speeches that your colleagues were giving about transparency and accountability, and 14 to 1 is pretty good. I wish it could have been 15 to 0. But what is your sense about, you know, the legislature's duties moving on from here in passing more legislation that helps during this crisis, and also holding oversight to make sure that money is being spent correctly and that people's rights aren't being trampled upon?
Well, Troy, and that's why when this whole government of Guam was created, we are three branches of government, and as the legislature appropriates and creates legislation, it is the executive branch that implements. And if there's disagreements, then of course the third branch of government comes in. But it is our judiciary duty to make sure that there is accountability and transparency. And I've never shied away from the point of saying that we need to be able to share with our community what is happening. And as the governor was fair in saying that she is rolling out her plans for transparency, in that same effort, because we asked for this accountability and transparency, and we've always done. I'm glad that our colleagues have listened and the governor to know that as oversight chair of public accountability, that enables legislation is to make sure that the check and balances are there, the audits are done, and that I was even asking the governor for support in giving a fraction of what has come in the CRF to give a fraction to the public auditors so that they could hire more auditors or even contract auditors to help audit all the millions and millions of dollars that are coming in to our island. I know that our community is very, very hard up for trying to make ends meet. I know that they're living day to day, and I know that we need to get some resources out to them. I know that the governor just sent over a plan. Our office is just trying to digest it right now. We received it minutes ago. But that's not, I'm just going to say that doesn't end there. We continue to do our part. We sent a letter out, finally, working closely with a lot of speakers from the different jurisdictions, states in the nation to ask the White House to ask the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, and the Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, to see that when they go through this third round of resources and getting funding to our people, that they look at all the governments around the nation and work with whatever shortfall they have. They've given to the residents, they've given to the need of the first responders, so now we need to look at all the shortfalls that are being expected from what we have to deal with. Again, Troy, this is something that the world did not ever anticipate. This is an invisible war. This is something that none of us ever wished on anybody, and we, yes, need to continue to work together. In the efforts of accountability and transparency, I want to say that we all need to continue to work together. We shouldn't, put blame on anybody. We should literally be upfront and be open and honest about what's coming in, what needs to go out, what's going to be given to our people, what needs. Those breakdowns and those delineated budgets that should be coming from the administration should be able to come our way. Again, the governor has committed to that. There is a reset button because there is a new acting chief of staff with Mr. John Mendiola Cabo Jr., and I want to say that I will continue to work with the administration and be asked for everything that is coming through the administration, that they afford us the opportunity as the 35th Guam Legislature to give us the information that we need, because Troy and Johnny, you need to know we have a budget coming up, and the Office of Finance and Budgeting has continued to say to this administration, you need to work with us, you need to account, if you need to resend an amended version of the budget showing the financial impacts and the shortfall that this government of Guam has had, please work with us. Please work with the legislature so we can go in together and work for the 2021 budget, seeing the impact that's happening today. And that's what we're working on. I'm not going to stop, Troy and Johnny, I'm not going to stop working. Our office has been working with the administration, working with the agency head, working with the White House, working with the National Conference of State Legislators, working with the presidents, the White House staff, the employees that are on the ground working for the different agencies, and we've been communicating with them. And I'm really hopeful that with the applications that have been turned into the feds, we'll get something sooner than later, because I too, with other representatives, have asked for it. I'm not going to stop. I will, if I have to continue to work every day to ask the White House, what continued resources are you going to bring down this way? I'm going to do say. And if there's the realization of any shortfalls from any and all the governments within the nation, what can you do for the governments? I pen my name to over 20 other speakers from the territory and from the United States to see what we can do to send something to our government.
Speaker, I want you to know, because you did mention that the reset button has been pressed and that hopefully with the new chief of staff, things have changed at the governor's office. Actually, nothing has changed with the governor's office. Yesterday, Carlo Branch sent a message out to individual media agencies, of course not Kandit News, but to other media agencies saying that they are invited each to sit down with Hai Hyun, the governor's legal counsel, all of it being off of the record, none of it for publication or for broadcast, so that Hai Hyun can explain this contractual mess that they're in and this scandal, this corruption scandal that they're under. Thankfully, only PNC agreed to that interview. The other media stations said, no, we are not going to do that. That is unethical. That it's not something that we will be a part of in a story like this. And so they actually had to cancel that secret interview that they wanted to have with the media that was completely off the record because their plan failed. This is yet another example of the administration trying to conceal things from the people of Guam. And make no mistake, they will conceal things from the Guam legislature as well if they can. So my question to you, Senator, or Madam Speaker, is the legislature going to be increasing its oversight and using the subpoena power of the legislature to make sure that the people of Guam get answers? Because nothing has changed with John Jr. Calvo. They are trying to hide information.
Troy, with all due respect, as I'm speaking to you right now, I am signing the certification of the passage on Bill 333-35 to be sent to the Magahaga. And I want to share with you, I'm not going to speak on behalf of what's going to, what's being done with the administration. I need you to know that as the 35th Guam Legislature, we have been as open, as transparent as we possibly can. And we try our very best to answer any of the questions that come by you or any other media outlet that calls us for questioning.
Yes,
so,
and we appreciate that.
In the spirit of cooperation, we'll continue to do that. And if you have any questions for me as it relates to COVID-19 or relates to anything that's coming up, please don't hesitate to call me, my office, and we'll get answers to you as soon as possible or directly talk to you.
Yes.
And all the other media involved.
And so we do have a question relating to COVID-19, and that is, will the Committee on Public Accountability be considering an oversight hearing regarding the expenditure and the contracts that have been started up regarding COVID-19?
You know, as we speak, I've been speaking with the Office of Accountability. I spoke to Auditor Cruz, and we are working on his submission to see what other resources that are needed. But most definitely, Troy, it's important, again, as Oversight Chair of the Office of Public Accountability, working with Public Auditor Benjamin Cruz, I need you to know, BJ Cruz, I need you to know that we are continuing to work on that as we move forward and as we get the full accountability on what is happening as we receive federal funds that come our way. Again, enabling legislation gives the public auditor and that office to audit anything that the government does and as far as all its programs, and we will continue to move forward on that. And did you get the letters that were the letters that we sent regarding the OPA?
Yes, we reported on that already, as a matter of fact. So thank you for that. We will be speaking with some of your colleagues this afternoon, because I know you go back into session at 2:30, asking them to please vote in favor of your tax refunds bill. I believe it's bill number 327. So I really hope that you are presenting that in motions today to place that bill on the agenda because people need their tax refunds, Speaker.
I'm hoping, we're hoping to work on the agenda for this afternoon. We are going back to motions, but I want to share with you, if I hadn't already done so, that we just got word that 3.9 million is allotted to OPA. A part of the 3.9 million is allotted to OPA, and it's also for the Office of the Attorney Generals and to the courts. So a part of that 3.9 million, and we continue to look at what's been provided to us. So if there's any other information that you need from me, just let me know.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You have a good afternoon.
I just have
one
one
second.
thing.
I'm sorry.
I just have one thing, Speaker. If you have constituents that call because they need some food, we have some food, we have some hygiene, we have some Pampers for families that are in need. And if you know anybody that wants to donate, we are a vessel to get them to people in need.
Thank you so very much, Johnny and Troy. I really appreciate you guys doing that. I also want to share with you that I've been working with Stacy Caletta, Superintendent of DOE, to try and get some of the hygiene amenities to those folks who are in need of them. And we're just working on a timeline for distribution, but most definitely I will share that with my colleagues and continue to make some donations. I think I've got some items, hygiene items that I can share with you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Related to toothbrushes, combs, and
wonderful.
I will go ahead and send them your way.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you so much for your time.
God bless.
We'll be back to watching you guys at 2:30.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless. Bye-bye.
So that was the Speaker of the Legislature. We need to end this live stream because there's something that I've got to take care of, and we will be coming back on either live or on a recorded message regarding some breaking news from Kandit News Group itself. For now and until we either come back on for that or we see you at 2:30 for the resumption of session at the Guam Legislature, I'm Troy Torres for Kandit News.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Good day.